This is Pete Feenstra, www.getreadytorock.com. Talking to the sessioneer, jammer, band leader, producer, singer-songwriter, and right now, major solo artist, Mr. Steve Lukather.
Hi, how's it going? Boy, that was an intro.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's 30-odd years of your history encapsulated in 60 seconds. We're over here to talk about the new album, All's Well That Ends Well. Is that a kind of conceptual title? Does that refer to the fact that you're now no longer in Toto? And
well, it's been a very, very messed up year for me, man. You know, I mean, life-changing year. I mean, my mom passed away a few months ago. You know, I mean, I'm at that age where that happened. I'm an orphan now, so I'm the next guy in line to take the dirt nap, which is kind of scary.
Yeah. Which you kind of did in Toto.
Yeah, well,
you kind of took the run with the ball and everything.
Yeah, I ran with the ball in that until we couldn't do it anymore. But we did reform for a moment this summer to help our brother Mike Bacaro, who has ALS, which is a debilitating disease, and medical bills, family, and just try to help a friend out. You know what I mean? And so the core high school friends, David Page, Steve Bacaro, myself, and Joseph Williams, who went to school with us, who's still got a great voice. We hadn't worked together in 22 years live. We were all friends, and we decided to get together and help him out, and went out and had a ball. We're not going to reform, but we may do a few shows here and there once in a while.
Were they fun? I mean,
they were a blast. We were doing 25, 30,000 people a night. Young kids. It was like, where did it come from? But these songs get played on the radio every day, you know? And, you know, we never thought it was going to last that long. God, you know? I mean, the reason why I kind of split the band, because at the end, I was the last man standing. Everybody else had retired, quit, or in some cases, Jeffrey passed away. Mike got ill. I figured that's enough, you know?
Kind of a mixture of the creative juices running out, but also the commercial cycle has gone.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I didn't want to beat it to death. You know, I mean, there were some fantastic musicians that replaced some of the guys, but you know, the sound of the band completely changed, and then there were some business things and some other shit. The stuff that ruins a band. I wanted to bow out gracefully, you know.
So how long have you been working on this project now?
Oh, I started in January on this one.
You did?
And you know, all's well that ends well. It's kind of a metaphor for my life. You know, unfortunately, I'm going through a divorce, which is killing me. You know, I still love my wife very much, but you know, there's some things that just you can't fix. So we're still friends, obviously, and we're gonna have I'm gonna be a dad again on top of it all, so it makes it even weirder.
So when you say that this album's your most personal album, is that?
Well, I wrote all the lyrics. I mean, that's the first time. You know, I mean, not all of them, but like 85% of the lyrics were just me.
You really worked on that because
I was the music guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd write a lyric or two here and there, but like, you know, as far as, you know, full time, I mean, I have a lot to say. Looking at it from a personal standpoint, if you listen to the lyrics, you can kind of hear me falling apart. And then also there's a few political kind of things, like I'm looking at the world going, what the hell happened, man, you know? What happened to the peace and love stuff? You know, we're all supposed to be flying around like the Jetsons, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and everybody's getting along, but it seems to be going backwards as opposed to forward. So just me, a guy, you know, an older guy now in my 50s, kind of living through the music business for 35 years, seeing it all change for the better and for the worse, you know? So it's my take on it. Instead of writing songs.
What's the name of that song? World?
Watching the World.
Yeah. Watching the World, which is what that's about.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there watching everybody.
Funny lyrics too, by the way. You should check it out. Real funny lyrics.
Well, I'm a funny guy. What can I tell you?
But this album is full of all your strengths. It's got a kind of blues core to it. There's funk, there's fusion, there's rock.
Well, I mean, I like lots of different kind of music. I mean, some people only listen to the style of music they play. I mean, I'm one of these kind of guys, you know, as a session musician, I played in every style of music there is. I work with artists who's diverse. You know, from jazz guys to rock guys to pop people to country music to.
But were your side projects at that time, were they a kind of a filter for that? Because when you went in to do the sessions, you had to do what you had to do. Well, I mean, when you were in Toto, you were doing what was expected, I guess. Yeah,
I guess, you know, the thing is like I like lots of different kind of music, so my brain is a sponge for everything I listen to from the first Beatles record to now. And everything in between. You know, so it kind of sneaks into my music subconsciously.
And you got into sessions very early. You were 15, I think, when you first.
Well, I was 15. I was 17, 18. That's when I first.
But you were taking all kinds of courses, kind of thinking about doing that sort of thing.
I took. You know, I mean, I played by ear from the time I was 7 to the time I was about 14, and then I realized I hit a wall, and I wanted to really learn about music, and I really dove into my studies for about 4 years, and then all of a sudden worked. I was fortunate enough geographically and also given the opportunity, you know, meeting the Bacaro brothers in high school was a life-changing event, and they're still my family. Matter of fact, Mrs. Bacaro, their mom, has kind of taken me. we were at a wedding together, and I said, well, my mom's gone. I don't have anybody. I go, will you be my mom? Wow. And she gave me a big kiss on the cheek. She goes, I'll always be there for you.
There's two tracks on the album, On My Way Home and You'll Remember, which are heavily reminiscent of Steely Dan. Is that a throwback to...
Oh, man, it's one of my favorite bands of all time. I mean, I wear my influences on my sleeve. Anything that you hear that's reminiscent of something I've said, well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't steal it, but it was certainly influenced by it. Yeah, I love their music, man.
But getting back to your lyrics that we were just talking about a moment ago, for somebody who's struggled with lyrics in the past, you've said that yourself.
Yes.
Songs like Darkness in My Life, Flash in the Pan and Brody's are really confident songs, and they're kind of heartfelt as well as being funny.
I've been doing it for 35 years now, you know, and I've kind of gotten better at it, and I'm not afraid of I have more to say now.
Right.
You know, before I was like, you know, really kind of shy about it. I didn't really want to, you know, I didn't know what to say. I thought it just flowed out of me, man. And you know, when you're lucky enough to have that flow start on a creative level, then I just went with it. I'm really proud of the lyrics, and I worked really hard on this record. I mean, I put 6 months of my life.
Yeah. You think it's your best album?
Well, you know, it's kind of cliche to say that, but I think it's my most mature record. You know, I wasn't trying to be the flashiest guy in the world. I wasn't trying to be cheeky or write a hit single or something like that. It's just an artistic statement. You know, I mean, I hope people like it. So far, the reaction has been very positive.
Did you set out to make it different from what you've been doing with Toto, specifically different? You
know, the thing is, I mean, Toto is the group of guys that sit in a room and play together. There's a certain sound. It's part of my DNA, my musical DNA. So it's gonna, if something is reminiscent of that, because I sang, wrote, played, and produced part of it, then yeah, it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
I can't help that. That is what it is. But I mean, I'm also, you know, I'm very protective of that legacy, which is why when I go out on solo tours, I don't do Rosanna Hold the Line in Africa. I mean, even though I could do legitimately do it, to me it cheapens the legacy of the band. You know, when the band plays those songs, it sounds like the band. When other people do it, it sounds like a karaoke version of it. And I have, like, you know, 22 years worth of solo material to play live, so I'd rather just be known. I'm really constantly trying to separate myself from that, you know what I mean?
That's a good point.
I'm proud of it, and when we get back together, every once in a while I'll do it. It's fun again.
And now you're co-writing with CJ Vanston.
Yeah, CJ.
That's a new kind of relationship you've developed. I mean, how did that?
Well, we've known each other for 22. He worked on my first solo album as a keyboard player, and then he's gone on to work and produce and write for Tina Turner, Joe Cocker, tons of artists. He does all the Chris Guest movies. You know.
But it actually work as a songwriting duo?
Yeah, I mean, we've never done it before. So like when we went to the studio together and started writing, it was something really magical, for lack of a better term. It was so natural. We just flowed right through it. It was we had a great time, and so all of a sudden, like the first one was like, that was great. That really was a lot of fun. Let's come back tomorrow. Let's see what we get. And then all of a sudden we got on a roll, and the creative juices started flowing, and we got a vibe going. The next thing you know, we had like 6 tunes. It was like, wow. So then I went to lyric school. I was on the road doing a fusion project with Robin Ford, Daryl Jones, Randy Brecker, Bill Evans, Rodney Holmes, and I had time. I quit drinking and smoking and doing all that crazy stuff, so I had a lot of time to sit in my room and do something more constructive besides nurse a hangover. And I was writing a lot of words.
And what about your relationship with Fee Waybill? That goes back to the early 80s.
Yeah.
Is it
30
a case,
years.
Yeah. Is it a case you just worked together when you could?
Well, we're very good friends, and I think the world of him. And he's got such a biting wit about him. So those songs that we wrote together, Flash in the Pan is just our piss take on the whole paparazzi thing. I mean, you know, really, it's gotten so ridiculous. I mean, people are famous for nothing now.
Yeah. Well,
and I have friends of mine that are actors and stuff that are really famous that get really bothered by these people. There's a show called TMZ in America where they just try to catch celebrities doing stupid things, and then they make fun of them on the TV. It's like, well, you put them in the position to do that. So we make fun of that whole thing, you know.
Yeah, and you do it.
And he does it. Well, he always has a really biting.
Well, I was going to say, did the satirical edge come from him specifically?
Yeah, for sure.
I suppose it did. Yeah. And as a guitar player, perhaps a little bit unusual because you compose on keyboards, don't you? Is that one of the reasons?
On some of it. I played a lot of guitar. I wrote a lot of guitars because CJ's a keyboard player.
So that
would be redundant, you know.
Yeah.
So consequently, I got a lot more interesting guitar riffs with the ambient keyboard thing. What's missing is the piano sound.
Right.
I try to stay away from that because that's rather Toto-esque and David Page vibe, you know, even though I love that stuff. I I just went. This is a little darker record, all the way across, musically and lyrically. You know, it's just a.
And darkness in my mind is a
darkness in my world.
In my world, excuse me, is the perfect example of that. Really, you've got really strong melodies there. You've got great guitar work.
Thank you.
Was it a struggle to balance the two out?
No, we didn't think about it, man. I mean, I don't. A lot of people ask me, do I think about it, or was it a struggle or something like that? No, it made sense to me at the time.
Yeah.
I heard something and I started to play something and it went like that, and it worked.
Yeah.
So you don't argue when it's working. Why argue with it?
Yeah. And Brody's is another very, very strong song.
I wrote that with my old songwriting partner, Randy Goodrum. We've been writing songs. One of the first songs we ever wrote was I'll Be Over You, which was a big ballad hit for Toto.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was in Nashville earlier in the year.
Okay,
and
the songwriting.
And he lives there, so we came up with that. And it's just another take on the political thing. There's all this extreme right, extreme left. And there's guys at these bloggers, which are like just a bunch of raving maniacs for the most time. And then, you know,
stream of consciousness.
people don't ever really back check their facts.
Right.
So you know, if somebody blogs something, people take it at face value. So this is a story about a guy sitting. Brody's is a bar.
Right.
And there's a guy who's just drunk, sitting on his computer on the Wi-Fi, looking at CNN and looking around the room, making, you know, judging people and assessing, you know, like what it's all about. He's just a fool.
Yeah.
And whatever happened to everybody trying to be nice and peace and love and hippies and all the stuff that we grew up with, it kind of seemed now there's all this hatred and racism. We've gone backwards, not forward. That's kind of a take on a lyrical take on a bluesy kind of a riff, you know.